So continuing on with the series of using bricks to create a little bit more fun when it comes to designing things, we're going to take a look at the scroll snap feature and how you can use that to get a little bit creative with your page designs. I've got a really simple example here, but it should set you up understanding how to use it, and then you can get creative and implement it in whatever way you want. So basically what the scroll snap does is, as its name suggests, it allows you to scroll and snap to a section of a page. So in this example, you can see I've got section 1, scroll up, section 2, I don't have to try to position everything perfectly. This is great if you've got a kind of portfolio site, a one-page landing site with different sections on it. There's just a lot of nice ways in which you may want to implement this into your design. Now, I'm not going to focus too heavily on anything to do with setting things up from a responsive point of view, because at the end of the day, you can get creative and do what you want with it. This is just showing you how to use one of the functions inside bricks. So let's jump in and take a look at how we can do this for ourselves. So if we jump into the page design, you can see I've got a bunch of different sections over on the right hand side. I've also got a header set up specifically for this page. It's transparent, and that just gives me the ability to have this nice simple mobile menu. But like I say, you can set this up however you want. So let's go and create a new section so I can show you how the sections are set up, and then we'll take a look at the scroll snap. Now if we jump over into any of these other than the first one, you can see they're split into 50-50 designs, image on the left or right, text on the left or right, depending upon which one you're looking at. So let me just show you how I'd set something like this up. Let's go and add a new section. You can see this just puts in a standard section at the bottom with a container. So the first thing you want to do is choose our section. You can name these if you want to, which generally I would say would make a lot of sense. We'll choose this new section. We're going to come over into our style option and into layout. And from there, we're going to set our height to be 100 VH. This is going to make sure then that this takes up 100% of the overall screen real estate that you have. So you'll see when we scroll down, you can see we now have a full screen's worth of information. So the next thing I'm going to do is set our section. We're going to come back into our content, and we're going to make sure that this is set to be in the center. So all our content is going to be center aligned. We're also going to come into the style section, and we're going to add an image in. So let's go into our background, choose an image. For ease, just so you can immediately see what's going on, I'm going to choose something that's completely different to the topic that we've got. So we'll choose this very tasty looking hamburger. We'll insert this, and you can see that now puts the image in. We can set up the size. Now for this example, I want the full resolution, so it's the nicest quality. And we now have a nice image. But you can see above we've got this kind of 50-50. So to do that is incredibly simple. Again, making sure the section is still active, we're going to come down to the gradient overlay. Choose this to go onto the overlay section, and we're going to set this linear is perfectly fine, and we're going to add 2 colors in. And what we're going to do is we're going to effectively split this into transparent on one side and full color on the other side, and then we're going to set this up to be 90%. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If we choose this first one, we'll choose any color, doesn't really matter. We'll set that value inside there. We'll choose our second one, and we'll choose a different color. This time we'll choose this kind of almost black. And you can see that gives us now a kind of gradient, which is what you would expect. But let's set these color stops to 50. And you see that now gives us a hard line in between. Now all we need to do is set this up to be the right angle. To do that, we just choose linear from the list of options for type. That opens up the new angle. We'll set 90 in there, and you can see we now get a split 50-50. If you find you've done this the wrong way, you can simply drag these colors up and change the order of them. And you can see that flips things around perfectly. So now all we need to do is choose our color 2, which is our green, which is just there to show us what's going on. Set the opacity on that to be totally transparent. And we now have this 50-50 split. Now, if you wanted to, you could get even more creative. You could set different angles inside here. So let's just say we wanted to do 125. We now get this kind of slash effect in there. You can get creative, like I say. It's pretty cool, and it's a nice way of setting these up where you want things to stretch exactly how you want them to. Okay, so there's the first part of it done. All we need to do now is set up the actual content. Now for my example, I've got my container set up to a specific width, which is 1600 pixels for this design. And there you go. Everything's set up. Now if we take a look at the other sections, inside there we've got 2 blocks. The one block is just an empty block. The other one is the block that contains our content. So for ease, let's just replicate that. So we'll add in a couple of blocks inside our container, set our first block to be 50%. Set our second block to be 50%. Once we've done that, we're going to select our container one more time and come back into our content. I'm going to set this to be a row. So now everything is split 50-50, and now we can add in the content. So I'm just going to copy that from here. So duplicate the heading, duplicate the basic text, and we'll simply pop those into, in this example, the first box. There we go. So we've set everything up inside there. Now, obviously, you're going to need to add a little bit of space and padding and so on, but I'll leave it as it is for now, just so you can kind of see. So that's how we create the sections. So that's the first part of our design. The next thing we want to do is make sure the scroll snap is set up the way that we want. And this is very easy. All you need to do is come over to the settings section on the left-hand side, open up the page settings, and enable the scroll snap option. Now you can see inside there we've got a couple of different types. We can unset, we can set mandatory, y-axis or proximity. It's up to you how you want to work with these, but the mandatory means that it kind of snaps to exactly the actual content itself. You can then choose what selector it actually snaps to. Now by default this is going to use sections, but you may not want that to be the case. You may want to have a container, you may want to have a block or something inside there. You can just set up what you need inside the selector, as it were. But in this example, the section is perfectly fine. And then you can choose whether you want this to be at the start. In other words, it'll snap to the start, the center, or the end. Again, up to you when it comes to your creative vision for this. Start, in my example, works perfectly fine. You can set up margins and padding and also stop options inside here if you want to. So you can set between normal and always. And what I would also suggest is use the one-page navigation. So if I scroll right the way back up to the top, you can see we've got these dots on the right-hand side. This is all set up inside that one-page navigation. You can set your spacing, height, and so on. So you can customize this to your heart's content. And this gives you another way of being able to navigate around. So if you don't want people to have to scroll all the way to the bottom, they can simply click on the last dot and that'll jump them straight to that point in your design. Then once you're finished, click on save and then let's test this out. So now you can see all we need to do is scroll and it'll snap to the relevant different sections, or we can use the dots. So for example, we click on the last one, it'll take us to the new section we've just added in. It is that easy. So you can get creative with this and have a bit of fun. Now, if you like these kinds of tutorials, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you'd like me to cover specific kinds of designs or parts of designs, let me know in the comment section. And if enough people are interested, I'll take a look at creating content on it. As always, all applicable links are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts. And until next time, take care.